continue, verse 12. The younger of the children said to his Abba, give me a portion of my goods that belong to me, and he divided to them his living. We see here that for the children of Yahweh in our family, often a child will desire, here's a shock. This is going to be a real shock. Ready? Your child may desire your money or your possessions or your house or your car more than he desires you and your wife. Amen. What a shock, right? How many know what I'm talking about? Amen. This is not uncommon. Yep. Do not worry. You must live your walk before Yahweh, listen, without coveting, and be a living example for your wayward child. Oh, yeah. Look at verse 12. Look at the rebellious spirit of a wandering child. Give me my portion. Now. Sound familiar? Yep. Now, mine, give. Now, give me mine. When? Now, give me mine. So a wandering child desires, covets materialism more than the most precious thing they have, which is righteous parents living for Yahweh, and a righteous home, and a righteous domestic situation. Doesn't this make sense? Yep. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. So the parent who's worried about being a good parent, instead of realizing that we really don't have a lot of say in the way our children turn out past a certain point, your influence ends at about 9 years old. And that is shocking. After that, you better hope you're on cruise control. And the right kind of cruise, and that Yahweh is your pilot, not gold. We want Yahweh to be our pilot. Okay? Amen. Do not, number one, so we see here as a parent who has a rebellious or wandering child, do not divide your living. Do not divide your inheritance. Give your children nothing. Whoa. That's harsh. No, it's biblical. What was this father's problem here? Look at this. He gave in to the child's request and divided to the child what, instead of working for and earning with his own hands, he had things handed to him on a silver platter. You got the money? Good. Give it to the poor. You have you're a person of means? Good. Give it to the hungry. You're a person of means? Good. Give it to the outcast. Do not heap it upon your children. You will destroy them. Amen. You want to save something? You want to set money aside? Set it aside. But don't start dividing it while you're alive. Let that child or son or daughter learn what it's like to work with their hands and make a living. Amen. All the days of your life you shall bring forth bread from the earth with the sweat of your brow. Yes. Don't change Yahweh's divine order and divine command. Verse 13, Luke 15:13. Again, this message, your wandering child. Listen, we're not talking about my situation. We're talking about a situation that is what? Common to man. No test or trial has come upon you, but that which is common to man. But Yahweh is faithful, who with the trial, the temptation, will provide a way of escape, that you may be able to bear it. Amen. This is a common problem. This is not Brid's problem. This is not your problem or my problem. It's a common problem that started where? In Gan Eden. Make any sense? You've entered into that problem because you're born a human being. We're too hard on ourselves as parents. Way too hard on ourselves. And others. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Who are parents. In other words, guess what? Your child may have never seen you use drugs. Is that going to stop them from using drugs? No. Your child may have never seen you fornicate. Is that going to stop them from fornicating?
No.
No. They've got to learn how to stop wandering on their own. Hello? On their own. So don't divide your living. Let them learn how to earn their wages and earn their ticket. Verse 13. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. I said Baruch Hashem Yahweh. And not many days after this, the younger son gathered all things together, circle those words, gathered all things together, and took his journey into a far country. Circle those words, far country. And there wasted his substance with riotous living. So the son did what? He got the father's inheritance. Amen? Gathered everything together, took his journey. Many children will hurt their parents with fleshly, worldly, and carnal behavior opposite what has been taught to them. As seen here, listen very carefully, as seen here, the way to handle their worldly, carnal behavior, fleshly behavior, is to pray and pray without ceasing and let them go.
Amen.
Do not rescue a 23-year-old. Do not rescue a 35-year-old. It's debatable if you even should be rescuing a 19-year-old or an 18-year-old. The only mistake this father made was dividing his goods prematurely. But he did the right thing in letting them go and letting the young child gather their things and go to a far country. Note, listen, that the father did not stop the son. Who's the father in this parable? Abba Yahweh. Isn't the father Abba Yahweh in this account? But Abba Yahweh didn't stop the child from going, did he? Let the child go his way. If you really love him or her, and she really loves you, they'll come back to you. What is yours will always come back to you. It's like the bird that comes back to his or her nest. It'll come back to you. Note that the father did nothing to stop the son, though he could have. Notice also when the child rebels against the truth of Yahweh, they usually go far away, not a little departure from the truth, but they gather their things and they go far away. Notice, gathering their things speaks of worldly things that they're gathering instead of the truth of who Yahweh is and the life of obedience and the life of servitude to Yahweh. So Yahweh says that a rebellious, wayward child will love things more than you and will gather their things and go a long distance to hurt you. Or set up their life in such a way that they are far removed from you.
Amen.
They're not going to move, when they're angry at you and they're rebellious or wayward, they're not going to move around the corner. They're going to gather all the things that you hate.
Yeah, amen.
They're going to gather all their things. The music that you don't approve of, the friends you don't approve of, the relationships you don't approve of,
Yep.
the lifestyle you don't approve of, the partners you don't approve of. They're going to gather all that and they're going to go to a far country. It speaks of waywardness. All the things that don't profit them go with them. All the things that profit them get left behind. Verse 14. And when he had spent all, meaning this wayward child, there arose a mighty famine in the land, so that he began to be in want. Verse 14. Do you see that? Who do you think allowed that child to be in famine and in want? Who do you think allowed that? Yahweh. To bring that child back to his senses. So it's not a matter of do the parents fail or succeed. It's a matter of if they're not living for Yahweh and they truly belong to Yahweh, Yahweh will make sure that they go to a far land gathering all their things, but in that land they don't find famine, in sustenance. In that land they find famine.
Amen.
Baruch Hashem Yahweh. You and I as parents, in my situation now with Nina, we have to rest in the fact that if we, as a parent, notice, not the child's already gathering their things long before they leave the house. They're gathering their music, they're gathering their videos, they've already gathered all their rebellion against you, sometime long before they leave the house. They're just waiting for you to do the stupid thing and divide the things so they can take the stuff with them. Hello? Baruch Hashem Yahweh. A parent must rest in the fact that if they remain faithful to Yahweh, Yahweh will see to it that at some point the famine and the lack will set in wherever the child is wandering, and so the child will desire to get back to home base. See how good Yahweh is? Yahweh will ordain for your wayward child to experience complete famine. Physical, spiritual, relational, marital, financial, you name it, it'll happen. If you remain faithful to Yahweh.
Amen.
If you and I don't remain faithful to Yahweh while the child is wandering, and we get all discouraged, we get all depressed, we get all despondent, and rescue them every 2 months, or every 2 weeks, okay? Then what ultimately happens, they may never get to experience the famine in that land that Yahweh has ordained to bring them home.
Amen.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Amen.
Yahweh has ordained famine for your child so that when they come home, they will taste home. They will love home. They will appreciate home. They will long for home. But by us rescuing our children and not allowing Yahweh to bring lack and famine in their life, we are short-circuiting the plans of Yahweh for our children.
Amen.
Does any of this make sense?
Amen.
I said, does any of this make sense?
Amen.
Meaning, the burden of what happens now is not on me. I'm not happy about my daughter leaving. I'm not happy about her going. But that's not the point. Your child is gonna either serve Yahweh or serve the devil.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen?
Amen.
And the only thing you can do is remain steadfast in prayer
Yes.
Amen.
and faithful to what Yahweh has shown you.
Amen.
Because if you're faithful, Yahweh will see to it that your wayward child develops a hunger for the things you grew them up with and you raised them with.
Amen.
Amen.
Does this make sense?
Amen.
Corinthia Aleph, keep your finger there, and I want to show you something very powerful. Corinthia Aleph, Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Corinthia Aleph, chapter 7, and verse 14. I want to show you a very powerful principle. For the unbelieving husband, listen, is set apart by the believing wife, and the unbelieving wife is set apart or made kadosh by the husband. Otherwise, now don't miss this, otherwise your children would be unclean, tamai. But now they are kadosh. What on earth is going on here? What's going on here? If you're married and your wife is a loony bin, how many know what I'm talking about? And your behave yourself. And your you guys make me laugh. And your wife, or your husband is a nut job, all right? All right? There's hope. If there's one in the house like Rachav, the harlot, who is righteous, if she's willing to hang her life on the scarlet cord, then all those who are under her roof will be delivered unto deliverance when the Malach Mavet, or the angel of death, comes to Jericho to destroy the city. That's the principle of the scarlet cord. That's the principle of the scarlet thread. If someone in your house is holding down and holding out the scarlet thread, the red scarlet thread of the precious blood of Mashiach, Yeshua, the Lamb of Yahweh, who taketh away the sins of the world. If someone is holding out that thread, not only is there hope for that wayward child, but Yahweh goes further than that. He says, I call those things that are not as though they were. I call those things that are not as though they were. He may be playing out in the fields. He may be on a journey. He may have gathered all his things. He may have left the house in a huff and a puff. But I see the sanctification of your life. I see the sanctification of your walk. I see the sanctification of your ministry. I see the sanctification of your faithfulness. And Yahweh says, your life as a Kohen of the Brit Hadashah, your life will guarantee that one day your wife will be straightened out. Amen. She may be with you, she may be without you. The divorce may be 20 years down the road. It don't matter. If you remain faithful in your priestly ministry before Yahweh, you don't get discouraged, you don't get despondent, you don't quit, because winners never quit and quitters never win.
Amen. Amen.
Winners never quit and quitters never win. Rabbi, do you ever feel like quitting? 3 times a day? You ever feel like staying home on Shabbat? Every Shabbat.
Every Shabbat, yeah. Oh yeah, oh yeah. That's so true.
But I bite my tongue. I know who called me. I owe my allegiance to the one who called me. I pledge allegiance to the Lamb.
Amen.
And I've got to remain faithful to him.
Amen.
And if I remain faithful, and if I don't wander, and I don't waver, and I don't shake, and I don't tilt, then Yahweh says, now watch this in verse 14. Amazing stuff, man. Amazing. There's a principle. It's like the law of sowing and reaping. If you reap covenant faithfulness, Yahweh says, I will guarantee to call those things that are not as though they were. Romans chapter 4. The same way I called Sarah's womb alive, even when Sarah's womb was dead. I call those things that are not as though they were.
Amen. Hallelujah.
That's where your role comes in. Not to rescue your child, but for you to remain faithful to Yahweh. That's what's getting a guarantee that your wandering child will come home.
Amen.
Not how many times you rescue that sorry 30-year-old, but how faithful you are in the face of adversity.
Amen.
That was will determine how quick that child comes home.
Amen.
Baruch Hashem Yahweh.
Baruch Hashem.
Yahweh.
Watch this, verse 14. For the principle is here that if a wife doesn't believe, the husband covers her, and she is kadosh. If the husband doesn't believe, the believing born-again Nazarene Israelite wife covers her unclean husband, and Yahweh sees him as kadosh, and the same principle carries over to the what? Children, because Yahweh is saying, if this principle wasn't true, your children would be unholy. But because this is true, your faithfulness can impart kadoshness or kedusha to your children, even in their wandering, even in their waywardness. Do you understand? The solution here is not to circumvent Yahweh and pull an Ishmael. I'll call my brother, he's a cop. He has connections. Oh, I know the congressman. I know the congressman. I'll pull strings. I can get someone to pull strings. And one day my child will come home because I'm going to call the congressman. And I'm going to beg and knock at the door of the congressman. I'll bring him food and honey and Chinese food and Italian food and salad. I give him everything. I knock until he makes a connection for me.
A connection.
Sorry, your child's going to be gone a lot longer than you may be on earth. That's not how you rescue a wandering child, a wayward child. You renew your covenant with Yahweh.
Amen. Hallelujah.
The closer you draw to Yahweh, the closer the day draws to the return of your child.
Hallelujah.
You getting this? That's not what the world teaches. I know. Do I look like a worldly teacher? I'm a spirit-filled rabbi. That's why you're getting fed by the Ruach. I'm telling you how to rescue a wayward child. You renew the covenant with Yahweh. You get closer. Let his praises be continually on your mouth. I will bless Yahweh at all times. His praise shall be continually on my mouth.
Amen.
And that's how you set a program in motion to bring that wayward child home. Because the more you're faithful to Yahweh, Yahweh will see to it that your child's things are not gathered, rather they're dried up.
Amen.
And that your child runs into famine after famine after famine after dead end after dead end. You see the program? Not freak out. Not increase your dosage of St. John's wort or lithium. That's not the program. Why are you looking at me like that? Program is renew your faithfulness, cast your bread upon the waters, and in not many days hence it shall return to you.
Amen.
You feel it?
Yes.
Hallelujah.
Yes.
Yahweh says in verse 14, if you stay faithful as the Kohen of your Bayit, it says, not only will the unbelieving spouse be clean, your children will be clean. Look at that. That's a prophetic promise. Not only they will be clean, they are now clean. Why? Even though they're in a far country, even though they've gathered their things, even though they've insisted on dividing to them things that are not really theirs to have before the time. Yahweh says no. Yahweh says not only will they be kadosh, they are kadosh now.
Hallelujah.
Beautiful.
So the program is not to rescue them. The program is, I want to get my life where I used to be, when the joy of Yahweh is my strength, when I was less judgmental, when I was less worried about what day and hour the meeting was, instead of the chesed, the mercy, the grace, the forgiveness, and the new life that Yahweh has given me. I forgot about that joy of new life and the blood of Yeshua, and I become so immersed and so immense and so enamored with Torah that I forgot that it was the blood of Yeshua that gave me the grace to fall in love with the Torah.
Amen. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Baruch Hashem, Yahweh.
And I that's what I want in my life. I want to get back to the times when I was less judgmental, when I was less legalistic,
Amen.
and I want the joy of Yahweh, the joy of my salvation. I want to pray like Melech David in Tehillim 51. Oh Yahweh, cleanse me and I'll be whiter than snow. Cleanse me with hyssop and I shall be clean. Remove not thy Ruach HaKodesh from me.
Amen.
Renew my heart, O Yahweh, and renew a right spirit in me. Not my children, they're gone. They've gathered up, divided up, and left the roots. And the bad news is, they didn't even ask your opinion. Forget about your authority. Not only you've lost authority at the age of when they turn 14 or 15, they didn't even ask your opinion. Now what? I mean, the least our children can do is ask our opinion.
At least.
Oh, well, as the... Oh, thank you, John. Well, as the father, I will give you my opinion. You honor me. Oh, thank you. Doesn't matter if you ever do what I say. Just the fact that you've asked my opinion. You honor me. seeking honor for yourself. Yeshua said, that's not where it's at, seeking honor for yourself. Yeshua said, this test, brothers and sisters, this common test, how many human beings, how many parents have taken this test? Every parent ever born. This is a common test. Right?
Yeah.
This is common.
Yeah.
It's not the SAT. This is the GED. General equivalency. Everybody gets to take this test as a parent. The question is, do we fail or pass? And the key is not getting your child wandering or who's away from Yahweh or not living rightly before Yahweh. The trick is not to get them changed.